Hello, you able to hear me?
Hello.
My, I'm audible, right?
Yes.
Okay. Shit, 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 shit. Fine. So, let's continue with Ludo and Lily. So, what happened one day is Lily invited Ludo to her home, okay, for dinner. So you all know this guy was very happy because she invited him for especially dinner. So he was just waiting when it would be night and when he would actually go to her home. So he went, and as soon as he went, right, so he was been invited, so full Josh say he dressed up like anything and he went. Then he was been he was been welcomed at her home. uh, Lily's mom and Lily, both of them were there at home, and they both welcomed Ludo. So he came and sat in the hall, and he was noticing that there is some really nice smell that is coming up. He thought that they are really preparing something very special for him. He basically sees near the kitchen, and he sees that Lily's mom was in front of a mixer grinder, and they were preparing a lot of stuff, but she was doing something in front of mixer grinder. Okay, so he saw that there were lots of amazing dishes that were being prepared for him. So what Ludo does right now is he calls Lily. Okay, he just asks her to come here. Okay, and he tells her to sit down, and he starts asking few questions for her, like uh, he says to Lily, just notice what your mom is doing. As I told you, right, her mom was actually preparing, was in front of a mixer grinder, and she was grinding something, maybe some juice or something, but she was doing something, okay, for the dinner purpose itself. Maybe it was something, okay, but she was doing something at the mixer grinder. So he asked her to notice her mom, what she is doing. So she tells back to him that she is actually preparing juice. So this guy tells her that she is preparing juice, but there is something very interesting going on there. Okay, that is nothing but this juicer or whatever is there, right? Her mom is actually putting some fruits inside that juicer, and from the other end, this one is juice is coming out, something like this. So you can just imagine her mom is putting some fruits inside this juicer, and from here the juice is coming out. Okay, so he starts her, he tells her to observe what her mom is doing and how this process, this whole thing is working on. So she was doing very simple task. She was just putting fruits inside. Let's consider apples. So she was putting in apples, and you were getting here apple juice. It was that very simple. So next he asks one more question to her. Is your mom concerned what is going inside this mixer, whatever, or juicer? What is going? Is she concerned? She tells no. Why will she be concerned about that? She is only concerned that juice should be prepared, and she knows that you should put something as an input from here, and you start getting some output from here. So I can say that this is something input which you start putting, and you start getting some output from the mixer from here. As simple as that. So she tells him that why she should be concerned about the mixer grinder, right? What's going inside the mixer grinder? Why she should be concerned about? She is actually concerned only about that juice should come out. If juice is not coming out, then she might ask some technician. But she is only concerned about the juice, so she is not concerned about what's going inside. But you notice one thing, okay? So for those people who don't know, right? Let's assume that someone teaches you, shows you this mixer grinder. Let's consider we go back to this old age, okay? This is what Ludo is telling Lily. Let's say that we go back to the old age, and we somehow in the past, and with the mixer grinder, and show these people that you put an apple from here and you get juice from here. So this will be shocking for them, right? Or let's go back to this old age with and telling that there is a drone, okay, and if you press this button of that controller on the drone is going to fly, it is going to move up, okay. So this things will sound little bit shocking for them, right? And this mixer also would sound little bit shocking for them, because they don't know what's going inside here, okay. They don't know what's going on. They are only concerned that एक कुछ तो device है where you put something, you get something as an output. That's as simple as that. This is what we know. What I personally feel, like for everything, okay, whatever science creates or whatever technology is creating, there is lots of engineering that happens here, right? So electrical engineers know lots of stuff is there to create that. What all things are done. Only those people know, but for end users, it's just like I'm putting something, I'm getting out something. I'm least bothered about what's going on here. But for me, it is like magic goes inside. Man, this is amazing. Now, why it's amazing? You are educated, so it might not sound amazing for you. But just think if you would be uneducated, because you don't know anything. And now if I could tell you that, oh, this is a grinder which is, you are going to put something and you are going to get juice. Wow, that sounds strange, right? That I am going to put an apple from up and I am going to get juice at the down. So this is amazing, right? So I feel that according to me, there is some magic that goes inside. This is what Lulu tells Lily. Okay, so you know why I am telling you all this kind of stuff, Lily? Because this is how in programming also things will work. Okay, so what we are going to study today is about functions in depth. We have already studied functions, so I will not be going through again one time all those kind of stuff, lot many stuff which we have studied. It will just be a quick revision for you. But it will be a more functional oriented video. How do you create your own function and all this kind of stuff. But what's important is thing what Ludo thought Lily. Why he told to observe that thing, whatever was going on there. So, you know what these functions are. So, can anyone tell me what these functions are? We have already discussed.
Small block of codes.
Yeah. Small block of code, but it's incomplete definition. Very important words are there.
Small block of codes got executed whenever they get called.
Exactly. Which will be executed only and only when. So, small block of code, a small block of code which gets executed only when it is called. We have already discussed about this. So, Lily says, what is the relation of this and that what you are telling me to, what all you told me right now, what all questions you asked me. Like, he says, yes, there is a very important relation, okay. So, you can imagine functions like this, that it is similar to a box, a black box, or you can consider the mixer grinder which I told you, okay, which takes some input from here, it has some input thing from here, and it has some output here. It's a block, it's a box, okay. So this is a black box which is going to, or a machine, any machine you take, this is a human created machine. Some machine is there or black box is there which has some input or which has some box which from where you can open at the top and something can come out from the bottom of the box. So it is like a machine, it is like a mixer grinder, it is like a black box which has some input from where something can go inside this box. So there is a place from which something can go inside this box, and there is a place from which something can come out of this box. Very simple. This is what function you can understand. I hope you will never forget this part, what I told you. But what's important is what goes inside this box is magic goes inside this box. Magic happens. Magic happens inside this box. What magic was happening in case of mixer grinder? Somehow the solid apple was getting converted to liquid. Wow. State itself was getting transformed from solid apple to liquid. So that was the magic that was been happening. But many people are least concerned about the magic that is happening. They are just concerned that I have to give this as an input and this is what I'll get as an output. That's it. They are concerned about. Okay. So this is how functions actually work. If you talk analogically, okay. Technically, if you want to understand what functions are, they are actually small block of code itself. A block of code which gets executed only and only when it is called. So this block of code, what I am talking, right, this is actually this machine. This is actually this mixer grinder. This is actually the black box. Inside this block of code, magic will happen. And this function will always take something as an input and will always give something as an output. But there are some exceptions. I'll discuss about that. But just consider that small block of code. What is the use of this block of code? It actually takes something as an input, does some magic inside, and gives something as an output. As simple as that. Functions. A black box which takes something as an input, does something inside, some magic goes on, and gives something as an output. That's it. This is how functions are, even in real world or even in programming. However, you know this one, right? Let's talk about maths itself. I'll write one expression. Y is equals to x square. What is this? What is this? Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
In 12th standard or 10th standard, this equation was there. What is this actually?
Equation of parabola or
Yes. What he told is right. Okay. Equation of parabola. But you know what? What's the beauty of this? Something to understand. This is actually a mathematical function. Mathematical function. Why you are saying, Gautam, this is mathematical function? Why should I say this as mathematical function? And why should I agree to you that it is a mathematical function? See, I'll tell you why you should agree to me. This whatever is there, right? This is called as independent variable. and this is called as dependent variable. Okay, this can be also called as an input, and this is something which is called as an output. Okay, so what do I mean by this? So what I mean is, you can give some values, y is equals to something f of x. Okay, y is equals to something f of x. Okay, what is this f of x? F of x is a function which takes x as an input and gives y as an output. Okay, so right now in our example, y is equals to f of x square is the function. Okay, x square is the function. This function takes x as an input and gives y as an output. So the value of x can be anything, whatever you want to substitute, it can be like that. So let's say if I am assuming x to be 2, so I can say that 2 square, that is equal to 4, and that is stored in variable y. So y answer will become 4. So it is like I gave some input, that is the value of x, and this function did something. What did it do? It actually multiplied. Not multiplied, it squared up. See here, what input did I give to this function? F of x is equals to x square was the function. What input did I give? I gave the value of x as 2. Oh, and something magic it did. What magic it did? Array, I gave input as 2, and inside this box something happened. It did x 2 square. I don't know what did it do, but I got the output as 4. I had given the input as 2, I got the output as 4, that means some magic it has done inside. Okay, so this is what functions is in maths also or in programming. Only thing is, in programming, this box is actually some block of code. Some part of program or some block of code which is going to take input something and it is going to give something as an output. Not necessarily that it should always do it, but most probably it will do this thing. Take input as something and give output as something. So we have types of functions. Now tell me, what are the types of functions?
Built-in function, user-defined function.
Built-in function,
User-defined function.
What is the difference between these two? We have covered this in second or third class where I have told a lot.
Like built-in functions are created by some programmer already that we only use.
Created by someone else. Okay, we only use. And user defined,
Which the user defines it.
okay, we create the function, we use it also, correct? No,
And also we can modify that.
we can modify, yes. So I can say that in built-in function there is only function call, because we have already discussed what is function definition and function call in one of the class, so I am using these words. And in user defined there is function definition plus function call. Will you agree, or any doubts here?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. So tell me, what is function definition? What is function definition? What is function definition?
Actual code that we write.
Correct. Actual code that we write. So I can say that, can I say when we define functions, right, we told that function is actually a block of code. So can I say that block of code itself is function definition? Actual code, or it is actually the block of code which you are going to write. Block of code which you are going to write. So you can assume that this is actually the machine. This is the machine, the mixer, or the machine which is going to take input something and it is going to give out as output as something. This is actually the mixer itself, the actual block of code, or the any kind of black box, that itself is function definition. Then what is function call? This we are trying to understand right now only conceptually, but when we will write programmatically also, we will try to understand it after some time. Tell me, what is function call?
Single line code.
Single line of code. Correct?
Or else the inputs for the function definition.
Inputs for the function definition. That is also true. So it is an input for the function definition, or else I'll say it as it's a single line of program, only one line of program, where we tell a compiler to run a function definition. Very simple. So it is a single line of program where which is going to tell the compiler, okay, where we tell the compiler that please run the function definition. Function definition is a bigger code, much bigger lines of program. It is the actual program, the whole program. Small block of program, or it's like a mixer grinder. But mixer grinder will not start working on its own, right? You will have to start it. How do you start it? You have a button on that. That button is function call. Only when you start it, only when you switch on the button, that time the mixer grinder will start working. Similarly, function call is a single line of code. Only and only when you write that time this block of code, this machine will start. What is actually function definition? Function definition is actually the machine which is going to take some input and give some output. It is that machine. When this machine is going to be executed or going to become started, when you are going to call the function here. This is what we are discussing. This is the machine and this is the starter for that machine. Only and only when you press the starter of your bike, the time it is going to start, right? Same thing is going to happen here also. Only and only when you press the starter here. How do you press the starter? By writing a single line of program. Press the starter. As soon as you press the starter, this machine will be started. As simple as that. So, let's try to do some things. Let's try to write few things. Okay, programmatically let's try to understand few things. Right now you must have understood theoretically what functions are. Let's try to understand it programmatically also. Functions.py, I have created a file, very simple. Perfect. So I'll write a program, okay. I want to write a program of addition of two numbers. Very simple program. How do you write? I think you already know. I'll take two definitions, variables. Let's say a is equals to input. Int, I will convert it to integer first of all. Int, then an input. Enter the first number. B is basically equals to enter the second number, and then you will say sum, new variable. Let's say result. If the color is changing, that means it's a keyword. Okay, you should not use it, because here when I wrote sum, it became red. That means I cannot use that as a variable name because it's a keyword. So result is basically equals to a plus b. Very simple. And if I want to print it, say print result is basically equals to maybe something result. Let's run this program. I think there should be no doubt in this program. All of you all must be able to easily do it. Why am I inside day 13? Today is day 13. What? Not sure. Today is day 14. Okay, I'll transfer all these files. Python functions. Okay, I should be inside code folder. Then I should type Python functions.py. Perfect. Enter the first number 2, third number 6, and the result is 6. Perfect. Looks good. Working fine. Okay. What I am trying to tell you is how do you actually convert a normal program into functions. Okay. There is no problem with this program. This will run, and without functions also program will run. That's what I am trying to tell you. Now I'll write this same program using functional programming concept. What is the use of functions? Okay, so when you use functions, right, you get more better advantage. I'll tell you what are the advantages of using functions. But without functions also, if you write the same program, it is going to work as it is. No issues with that. If you use functions, it's just like you can write your examination paper with not bad handwriting also. You can write all your assignments, journals with bad handwriting also. Still it is going to be corrected and you will be getting marks. But only thing is, some people make notes by highlighting, taking sketch pens, underlining and making titles in some other colors, all those kind of stuff. What does it do? Same notes, no, same content. Only thing is they have represented it in some different way. What's the advantage of that? But whenever reading will become much more easier, your readability will increase. You will feel like reading the code. Debugging in the sense, figuring out problems will be much more easier. If you have made some mistake, it will be much easier to figure out because you have written it neatly, properly, something which everyone can understand. That's the only advantage of functions. Okay? I'll tell you what's the advantage, still more. But let's see how do you write the same program using functions now. Okay, so what is this functions? Functional programming is actually a concept that is used to improve your code writing abilities. Okay, so how you are writing the code, that is going to be improved. How efficiently you are going to write the code, that is going to be improved. It is just a concept that is used to improve the way you are writing the code. It's not something which if you don't use your program will not work. No, it will work as it is. Is that clear?
Yes.
So, right now what we are saying is how to. Do you want me to teach how do you actually call an inbuilt function? Do you want me to teach that? How do you call an inbuilt function? Do you want me to teach?
Yes, it would be better if you repeat.
Prashant, will you explain? Prashant is there? No, I don't know. Will you explain how do you actually call any inbuilt functions?
Like the name of that function and the input parameters.
Yes, very simple. So I hope
the print function.
yes, you are completely right. So what I am trying to say you is, when it comes to inbuilt functions, right? We have discussed so much about inbuilt functions. We have used so many inbuilt functions till now. So many. Even while solving the questions and all, I think it must have become a normal thing for you now. That call printf function to print something, call str function to convert it, call int function, call input function. This is so much common. It must have become. That is what I want to tell you. That there is nothing that is left there is nothing that is left to explain that. I have also told that when it comes to inbuilt function, the function definition is written by someone else. You actually don't write the function definition. Function definition is actually written by someone else. You only call the function when it comes to, I am talking only about built-in functions, not user-defined functions. We have discussed lots about built-in functions if you want in the second or third or fourth class, I believe. So built-in functions, only we call the function. We don't write the function definition or the function body. Who writes the body then? Where is the body? Come on, who writes the body, or where can I find the body? Let's say I want to go and check the body of the print function. This one. Where can I go and search? And who has written it? Print is an inbuilt function, right?
Yes, it's an inbuilt function.
So where can I find the body of that, and who has written the body? I've already showed you all this thing in that class. First of all, tell me who has written the body. If we are, this is the syntax for calling the function, right? See here, you just write some function name and you just put this two brackets. That is how you call a function. I've already told built-in functions, there is no function body which you write on your own. It is written already by someone else. Your job is only to call the function. We have written this itself here. In built-in functions, there is only function call. That's it. There is no function definition. There is only function call. Very simple. My question is, who has written the function body then? Because from the fundamental point we know that function call is actually a single line of program which is going to execute whatever is there inside the function body. Or I can say function call is actually a single line of program which is like a starter which is going to start a mixer or the engine. Programmer, yes, programmer itself have written, but you are not that programmer. The person who has created that language, or maybe the person who has created the libraries, that person has written it. What libraries will be discussing, but I hope you got the point. Person, for example, printf function, whatever definition is there, the person who has created the library, that person must have written. So where is the definition then? Can I see the definition? Yes, you can see the definition. Just hover over this print and just click on control and then click your mouse. Just touch your touchpad or your mouse, you will go somewhere else. See here, I went somewhere else. And this is the function definition. I am not sure you will understand this or not, but this is the function definition which someone else has written for printf. This is actually the function definition which someone else has written, and this is the function definition which is getting executed when you call printf function. Every time you write printf or you call a printf function or any built-in function, what happens? It goes to the definition and it executes whatever is there inside the definition. And I told that function is actually a box, right, which has some input. So you might ask me, where is the input here? Yes, input is there. From here only you gave input. These brackets, what are there? No, these brackets. Just see, these brackets are like they indicated also in such a way that it is basically going to take something in between. It is going to take something in between here as an input. Inside these brackets is itself the place where you write what input is it taking. This is the input which I am giving for it. What input I am giving? I am giving a string and then I am putting a comma and I am giving some value. Just check if it is going to take some input or not. Yes, here it is going to take some input values. There are lots of things which it can take. You also have given end, right? You have seen end equals to, you have written end, that also you have tried, right? So see here, end must be a string. You also have given a string itself. Sometimes if you want to give input as end, you can give end also as an input. It is telling something else also, you can give separator also as an input if you want to give. You can give file, you can give flush, lots of things are there, okay, which you can give. But I hope this gave you a clear idea about what exactly happens when you call a function. When you call a built-in function, we'll be discussing about user-defined functions in depth, but I hope you at least got the clear picture about built-in functions, how they work. You call, you pass something as an input, it goes to the definition and executes that program, whatever is there in the definition. Is that clear? Is it clear? So beautiful silence is there. I hope, is it clear or not? Tell me first. You all are there?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Suchitra. You want me to continue with Ludo only or what? You all meditate or what? Matlab, so much silence. How is it possible for you all to maintain that? Like seriously, I'm talking. Like if someone maybe something falls down also here, I'll be able to hear. That much silence. Yeah, Snail, I understand. Yours is network issue, but lots of other people are there, right? Matlab, how come this level of discipline has come into picture? I don't know. I would love to learn. So, jokes apart, I hope you understood about function calls, inbuilt functions. Now let's talk about user-defined functions. How do you actually do it? User defined functions. What if I want to define my own function? This guy, this is the programmer, some programmer has defined this function here, and this is the function which get executed whenever you call this function, print function. But your question might be, what if I want to do on my own? What if I want to do on my own something else? That time, can I do it? Yes. Shit, man. Can I do it on my own? Yes, you can do it on your own. How to do it on your own? That is what I am trying to tell you. How to define your own function. How you want, that way you can write now. Because it is written by someone else, right? Printf is written by someone else. So I cannot do whatever I want inside this. So there are lots of limitations inside this which I cannot do. Because someone else has written it. But if you learn to create your own functions definitions or function body, then you can do whatever you want. Calling a function is very simple, man. It's a single line of program, as you did here. This is just a single line of program where you pass something as an input and you write these brackets, you use these brackets, and that's it, the function gets called. But what's the beauty of that function? Function call is not magic, because function call is telling what? Function call is just a starter which is starting that machine. So it is actually going to start that machine. So creating that machine is very important. What kind of machine you are creating, what that machine does. What in our case it is going to take apples and it is going to produce apple juice, but you can create machines which can do much bigger things. That is important. So how to define your own functions, or or I can say how to create your own function body, how to write your own function definition. That is what we are trying to see. The way we do it is first of all with the help of def keyword. Okay, then you write function name, whatever name you want to write how you write variable names. Then you put these two brackets, and then you put this as we do for if condition, as we did for while loop, do this. Okay, and inside this give some space and then start writing whatever body you want to write, that body you start writing. Okay, very simple. So let's say I will give this function name as maybe print my name. Print my name. I'll write this. This is how you write. First of all, def keyword, function name. It can be whatever. Then you should put these two brackets and this dot. This is a compulsory syntax. And then inside this, you write whatever you want. I have given some space here. Why I have given space? Because I am telling Python that I am writing from now onwards, whatever I am writing, that has to be there inside this function. If I start writing here, that means this line is there outside this function. So because we don't have brackets like this, we have indentation, we have spaces which will tell whether something is inside that function or outside that function, something is inside the if condition or outside the if condition, something is inside that for loop or outside that for loop, only by spaces. Let's say I will say hello print, hello Gautam, how are you doing? Very simple. Okay, so let me just comment out this. Okay, I don't want that to run. Let me run this program, nothing will happen. You know why nothing will happen? Because we have actually created a machine. What does this machine do? Or we have created a box. This machine is actually going to print my name and it is going to ask me how are you Gautam. So you can just consider that when you start this machine, right, as soon as you hit a starter, this machine is going to shout out saying, hello Gautam, how are you doing? We have created this machine now. So this machine will not start. I have already told you, without the help of starter, you will have to start this machine. So you should do function call. Without function call, that is nothing but the starter, function call, the machine will not start, or this function will not run, this program will not run. So the way we call it is write function name. My function name is print my name. This is my function name. This is the way you write it, and then put these two brackets. Very simple. This is actually how we call a function, or you can say how we start the function. Write the function name and put these two brackets. Same thing you did in printf also. See here, you did the same thing. You wrote the function name. The function name is printf, and you did put the brackets. Inside this bracket, you wrote something because you wanted to give something as an input. Okay. So I'll come back to that. Sometimes you may give input, sometimes you may not give input. Okay, so you will be creating machines sometimes which will take apples, which will produce juice, but sometimes you will create machines which is not going to take anything and it is not going to do give out anything. It is just going to start and maybe inside itself it is going to do some work. What work it might do, what you might be saying, what is the use of that? It is not taking anything, it is not giving anything, then what's the use of that? Yes, there are lots of uses, you can do lots of stuff inside. Still, we'll come back to that. But let's try to run this now and it should print my name. Hey, this was amazing. We created a machine which is actually printing my name. Okay. So similarly, if you want to convert this program now into this, so you might be asking me a few questions. Okay, lots of questions might be there. Gautam, you told that function is a machine which will take some input and give some input. From where is it actually giving, taking some of the input? From where is it actually giving the output? Where? I'll come back. Okay. So this is how you first of all write it. Okay. So you first understand this ending. Once you understand that, there are 4 different ways of writing functions. 4 ways of creating the machine. Creating the machine. What this machine can be whatever. Okay. It can be a bike, it can be a car, it can be a mixer grinder, machine, or I will say functions. The first way is this machine, whatever we are creating, is going to take some input, and also give some output. Okay. In programmatically, we don't use the word input and output. Okay. So instead of input and output, we use the word. Can anyone tell me what words we use instead of input and output? If you have studied, what words you use instead of input and output? Come on. You don't know?
Like function call?
No. These are actually called as parameters. Parameters. Input means parameters. Okay. Other name I am giving, that's it. Don't be confused. Just another name. Output means return. Simplest words I am telling you. Input, same thing. What I told, but only I have changed the names now. So I can say that there are 4 different ways of creating this machine. What machine you want to create, you create. So I am saying that there are 4 ways of creating the mixer grinder. There are 4 ways to create maybe a black box which is going to do something in between. There are 4 ways to create a bike, something like that. It will take some parameters and it will also give or return some value. Okay, this is one way. If you want to put it in nice words, we say like this. It takes in parameters. That can be 1 parameter, 2 parameter, 3 parameter, no parameter, anything it can be. Okay, so sorry, not no parameter. When I am saying it takes some parameter, it should take at least 1 parameter. It can take more than 1 parameter also. And we say it returns something. What something it returns, I don't know, but something it can return. It returns something. Second way of writing it is that it takes in input. Sorry, let's say it takes no parameters. Takes in no parameters, no params. Means what? It is not going to take any input. This machine is not going to take any input, and it is not going to return any value also. It is not going to return anything. This is another way of creating the function or machine. Third way is that it takes some input. Takes input or parameter, whatever you want to call it. Takes some input, but does not give any output. But does not give any output. Now you might be confused. What you are saying? You also know or what? It will take something and it will not give anything. What's the use of this? Hold on, just for a few minutes you will get it. Okay. What's the use of this? You will understand. Fourth one. What is the left one? Come on, guess. What is the next one? First one was it will take some parameters. It will take some input and it will give some output also. Second one was it will not take any input. It will not give any output. Third one is it will take some input but it will not give any output. What is the fourth one?
It will not take the input, gives the output.
Yes, very simple. It will not take any input, no input, but it will give some output. So you might be saying, really, what you are talking, you at least know what. You are telling that it will take some input, it will not take any input and it will give some output. Yes, you can write functions like that. Because this is a virtual world, right? Programming is a virtual world, right? So you can create machines whatever, however you want. You can create functions however you want. What are these functions? Technically they are block of code. So these are the 4 different ways of writing functions. Okay. Input we call it as parameters, and output basically means we call it as return. So I will first of all write and show you say one program which is nothing but this one. Same program. Okay. I am trying to write it with the help of functions. With the help of functions. Addition of 2 numbers with functions. Same program. Without functions also you can write it. So I am going to show you first of all. We are going to create a machine which is going to add 2 numbers. Okay. Remember, some magic goes inside a black box. What is function? A black box which takes some input and gives some output. Some magic goes inside this box. What magic is going to go inside this box is actually the addition of 2 numbers. Okay, I am going to give you 2 numbers and suddenly something is going to go inside and boom, you are going to get only one answer, one output, which is actually sum of that. So what something happened in between, right? That we call it as some magic that takes place. What it is going to do is it is going to take input and give output. This is one way of writing it. See, all ways of writing it are going to give you same output. Remember this, I am talking that these are the ways of writing it. Remember, these are different ways of writing it. All these ways are going to give you same output, no change. Only these are different ways of writing it. Whichever you want to use, you use. No one is going to question you on this. Whichever you want to use, that you use. But these are different ways of writing it. Let me create a function first of all. Very simple. Def function name, let's say add. Now, as I told, the function syntax will be something like this. Very simple. We have discussed this. Now, if it is going to take some input, then this is the place where you are going to write what input it is going to take. This is the place where you are going to write what input it is going to take. So, I am going to say right now, it is going to take input 2 values. Which are those values? Those values, whatever it might be. I am not going to write the data type of that because in Python we don't write data types. You already know. I am just going to mention the variable names where those values will be stored. So, the first value, whatever input, so just consider that this black box is having 2 holes. From one hole, a value will be stored, whatever value will be thrown from this hole, right? So, it is like there is a black box. The box like this. Here we have some holes, and here this is the bottom part of it. I did something wrong? No, that is okay. But this is the bottom part of it, down part. From here you are going to give some input, from here some magic is going to happen and you are going to get some output. This input what you are going to give, right? How many values you want to store? Whatever is going to come from this. Let's consider that we are going to give gems. जो रहते हैं ना छोटे छोटे बड़ी बड़ी gems. So it is going to go from here. Let's say red color gem is going to go and we are going to convert red and some magic is going to happen. So red is going to be converted into purple and you are going to get purple gem back here. So if you pass in green color gem, then it is going to get converted into blue and blue gem is going to come out from here. Let's say whatever you can write inside this magic, your choice. But right now, if I am giving 2 input holes, that means I am accepting 2 input values for this function. So I am accepting some values for this function, that is a and b, and whatever values will be passed from that particular hole, from this hole. If you pass some value from this hole, it will be stored in a variable a, and if you pass from this hole, it will be stored in variable b. You can make as much input holes as you want. You can make c, d, whatever holes you want to make, you make. It will be stored in variables that you are going to mention here. Because I am going to add sum of 2 numbers, I just need 2 values as an input, that is a and b, and I am just going to add those and return it. So this is how you take the input, and whatever values are going to come will be stored in this variable a and b. After this, what you want to do? You want to calculate the result. You will say result is equal to a plus b. You because I told you whatever values is going to come is going to stored in these variables. The first value what you pass, right, what you send, that will be stored in this variable. Second value what you send will be stored in this variable, and then it will be calculated. Now we discussed that these are functions which are going to take some input and give some output. Output is actually return. Whenever you write this word return, that means here is the output whole, return result. From here something came, something happened here, and from here it went out. If you write a line after this, it will never run. It will never run. Why it should run? Why it should never run? Because you returned here. Returned means your program flow stopped here. It will not go after that. Returned means what? Something value came, did something, and you throw it out. Okay? So you should be now actually thinking of how can I catch the value and where does that value go where I throwed? Where does this returned value will go? Returned value, always remember this point. Whatever value function returns, returned value of a function will go to that place where that function was being called. Where that function was being called. Perfect, very simple. So have we called this function anywhere? No, we have not called this function anywhere. So let's call this function. How do we call this function? Add, then this two brackets, very simple. Now, if you are actually accepting some, created some input holes here for this function, that means you will have to also pass those values here. It cannot happen like you have created the holes and kept and you are not passing anything. That will not work. That will throw an error. Because you are saying here that I am accepting two values, that is value of A, value of B. Whatever variable names you want to give here, you can give. But I am accepting two values. If you say like this, right, then you will have to pass it from here. From where do you pass? From here function call. I will pass two values, 2 and 3. I can do something like this also. I can say A is equal to 2, B is equal to 3. I can do something like this also. If you want to do, this way you do, or else if you want to do like this A comma B, you write it like this. Value, first value whatever you are going to write, sorry, not A comma B, 2 comma 2, let's say. First value whatever you are going to pass, right, that is going to go and store in this variable, second value is going to be stored on this variable, very simple. And it is going to return result. So whatever it is going to return result, right, where it will be actually coming back, where does it actually go? It will come to that place where your function was being called. So it will come to this place itself. Whatever answer it is going to calculate, right, it is always going to come to this place itself because I have called my function here. So how can I catch that value? How can I store that value whatever the function is returning in some variable? Yes, you can do it like this. You can say like this, and you can say maybe answer like this. So whatever this function is going to return, right, the function is going to return the value, and where that value will come and reach where you have called the function. So this is the place where I have called this function. So now this will be removed and it will be replaced by whatever value the function has returned. Let's say it will return me 4, or it will throw me some value that is 4, and now here that will be removed and 4 will be placed, and 4 value will be as it is placed in this variable answer. That is how it actually works. Very simple. Let's run and see this. It is not going to print anything because I have not told it to print ans. Why actually this print did not execute? Because you are writing it after return. After return, if you are writing it anything, that will not be printed. You wrote it after return, right? Inside this block. Now don't say this line is written after return itself. This line is not written. This line is not written after return. This line is actually written outside this function. Okay? So this line will work as it is. But this line you are saying that after return you are printing something. The function whenever you write return, right, that means that is the end of the function. After that next line will not be executed. This line got executed because this is outer block. This is a different block of code. Because these are all having same spaces, right? So these are different block of code. And this I told that this is outside the function. So it got executed. See here, answer came 4. Is this clear? Is this clear or no?
Yes,
Yes.
it's clear.
Perfect. Now let's try to do same thing. Same thing we are going to write, but we are going to use a different approach. That is, no input, no output. Function. We are going to write a function which is going to take no input, no output. Same way we should write def add. It is not going to take any input, so I am not going to write any variables here because no input. What it should do, it should actually print add to numbers, right? So because it is not going to take any input, now you will have to create your variables here itself, or you will have to take input here itself. You could say a is equals to int input a first number, b is equals to int input second number, calculate the result, and now print the result here itself. No returning, don't return anything. Don't return anything because I have told you no output should be thrown. Output means what? Return. Call this function. Very simple. Now also you will not pass any values because no input is taking. It is taking only. So whatever, if it is not taking any input and if it is not giving any output, that means whatever your logic has to be there, that you should write it inside this function itself. If you are not going to get any two numbers as an input, so you will have to ask the user inside the function itself to enter some input. Is that clear?
Yes.
I hope this sounds very simple. Let me run this. So let me clear one more of your confusion you might be having here. I did not take input. So here what I would do is I would actually take some input here. A equals to int input enter first number, b equals to enter second number. I'll store this in variable a and b, and then I'll pass these variables a and b here. I hope here you understood what is happening. Input is taken, stored in this variable a and b. That a and b, whatever values is stored, is been passed here. Value of a, value of b is been passed. So this is actually function call. Function call. So when you call the function, right, this line whenever you call, what will happen? This is actually called as function body, or it is called as function definition, whatever you want to call it. Whenever you call the function, function body will be executed or function definition will be executed. So what will happen? It will go here, and it will start executing this. And whatever value of a is passed, right, that will be put inside this variable a. Whatever b of passed, right, that will be put inside this variable b. And it will start executing this line, and now this line will not be executed only because it is returned here and stopped here. Return means what? Stopped, left from here. Whatever you are going to return, remember this, that value, where it will come and reach, that is the question. It will always come and reach at that place where you have called the function. So this is the place where we have called the function. This is the place, this box is the place where we have called the function. This now line will be removed, add a comma b will be removed, and whatever value has been coming from here will be substituted here, and that I am storing it in the variable answer and I am printing it. If you want to do it, no parameters, that means it is just like saying I am not going to give you any input value and neither you should return me some output value. Please take all your inputs on your own. So we are actually creating a machine now which is going to take inputs on its own. See here, it took input on its own. It actually calculated the output on its own also and it printed on its own also. But this guy here did not do like that. It was being given some input. It had to just add and return it. The task was not given anyone to print it. Printing was done by some external work, external program, not by this function. Printing was never done by the function. Printing was done by some external flow of program. That is this outside flow of program. This is actually a function, small block of code. But here, everything the function itself is doing. You can do whatever you want, like however 4 ways are there, you write it however you want. It is going to do same work. If I just write same values and it is going to print me 4, that's it. Because it has been asked to print result 4. Okay, so sorry, it is printing this one. Let me comment out this. See here, result 4. Perfect, we got that. This is how you write function which is not going to take any inputs and give some output. Let's write some function which is going to take input but don't return. Very simple. Take input but don't return anything. Let's write def add same way. It is going to take some input, so I'll store it in some variables a and b. It is going to calculate the result equals to a comma b, but it has to not return any value. So if it has to not return any value, that means its job is also to print it. You only print it, you don't return me. Here what you told? Here you told that please just return me the value. Please just return me the value. I will decide whether to print it or not. This function call will do it afterwards. I will decide whether to print it, not to print it and all. It just told you please give me the value, that's it. Your job is just to calculate the value and give it. I will decide whether to print it or not. Because you are not going to return itself here, then this only has to print. Because if you don't print, right, then no one else will do it, because no one else will not get the value only, because you are not returning the value only. You are not sending the value, then who will get the value? No one will get the value. If no one is getting the value, then how will you actually show the result? So it will be his responsibility only to print result. No return, don't return it. It is only printing it. Let's call this function add. Let's pass some. You can take some input here again. Here you can write those a comma b and take some input, but I will not do those kind of work right now. I will just do like this, and let's run this program, and boom, you got the output 4. Very simple. Now you all tell me for last one. No input but return the value. Come on, fast. Fast, you just tell me. You are there. Why did you ask me to tell you?
Like I didn't got the concept. Take input but don't return anything. Means like
This one. See, that's what I told at starting. There is no logic here. Why I am doing like this? Okay, I just told that these are ways of doing it. How do you actually call a function? How do you create a function? There are 4 different ways to do it. You use which you want to use. If you are happy with this method, you use this one. Take some input, give some output. If you are happy with if you don't want to give any input, don't give any input, and don't give any output also if you want. Same problem we are trying to solve, same output we are going to get, but I am just teaching you different ways of doing it. That's it, nothing else. Whichever method you want to use, you use, but I am telling you that there are 4 ways of doing it. Is that clear?
yes.
I hope that made sense. So tell me now here, if you want, let's say if you want to do the task, what the task is given to you, you should add 2 numbers and print the result. Same task if you want to do, but if you want to write a function or create a function which is not going to take any input, but it has to return some value. Now tell me how will you do? If it has to not give, if that function will not be given any input, that means it is indirectly saying that you only take input on your own. Will you agree?
Yes.
Very simple. How do you create a normal function? You know it, def add like this. This function is going to get some input. No, it is not going to get some input, so I will not write here bracket a comma b itself. Why? Because of no input only for this function. If it is not giving, if you are not giving any input to that function, that means indirectly you are saying that you only take the input. I will not give you. See here, instead of writing taking input, what we did here, we actually took input on our own, and then we actually passed that input to this function. We took the input and then we passed it to that function. Now what I am saying is I am not going to pass you any input, man. You only take the input. It will take very simple like this. it will calculate the result. After calculating the result, I am saying that no input but return value. But return value, it has to return value here. So it is returning result. Now, if you want to print here also you can print result. Print result, comma result, you can do. It will print. No issue with that. But because it is returning, right? So you don't print it. Maybe someone else wants to print it. So only it is they are asking you to give me the value. They have told you to just add the numbers and give me the value. I have not asked you to print. But if you want to print, you print. No. Who is stopping you? This is just a machine, and the way you want to create, you create it. It's completely on your own. You can write whatever code you want inside this body. I am just telling you some 4 ways of doing it. Sometimes some people might use some different syntax, sometimes some people might use some different syntax out of this 4. So you must know it. That's it. If this is just returning it, where this value will go and reach? This value will go and reach where you have called it. Like this you call, you will not pass any values there because no input is given. Where you can capture this value because it is returning. If it is not returning, don't catch the value. Only and only when the function is returning some value, you can catch that value. How you can catch that value? Like this. This is the syntax to catch that value. You store it in whichever variable you want to store. In that variable you store and say, you may say now print maybe result, and it should do the same work. See here, got the answer. Now you might ask me, why did I print result here itself? Why did not I print it here? Print it here. Who is stopping you? You will get the same answer. No change.
Dada, one more question is that we can use 2 variables.
In the sense, I did not get.
2 same variables, like result is used 2 times.
Okay, that's a really nice question. Okay, no, you should be asking it. I thought when I used it. See here, there is no necessity that you should use the same variable. Okay, so I think here I did not use same variable. See here, I used a different variable answer here to catch the variable, and I returned it in result. Actually, it was stored in result. It's not necessary that you should use same variable. Question should be, you use same variable, but how is it actually working? This variable, there is something called as scoping. Okay, I'll tell you that concept when almost maybe tomorrow. Scopes. Okay, so what is the scope? In this variable, what is stored, and this variable, what is stored? Whether these variables are same, because I have given same names, right? These variables are same, or these variables are actually different. These actually both the variables are different. Okay, although I have given same name, but unki मान मर्यादा रहती है. Like they have its own boundaries. It's like you all have, some people have same names, right? But they have a different initial, right? Somehow like that. These people also have same names, but this is actually a different guy. This is actually a different guy. How did I understand that this guy is different? This guy is a different guy. This guy is a different guy. Yes, I understood it because I know the concept of scoping. So I will teach you scoping. That time you will understand which guy is different, which guy is same. Although variable names are same. Variable names are same, but this is a different variable. This is a different variable. Both are different variable because scope is different. What is the meaning of scope? I'll tell you. But what I am trying to tell you is these are just different ways of doing it. If you are returning the value, right, you will store it in this variable, right? So why would you want this guy to print it? Don't tell it to print because it is returning the value. No, if it is returning the value, I can print. If it is not returning the value, then you cannot print because you don't have the value only. If it is not returning the value, I repeat again one time. If it is not returning the value, then you cannot print only. Why you cannot print? Because you don't know the value only. Now here, because it returned the value, I stored it in a variable, and that is how I got the value, and I am printing. So when I am assuming, when I am saying you can just imagine that this is one guy or one program that is running, and this is some other guy whom you have told to do some task. So there are 2 peoples here. One file only is there, one program only is there, but 2 peoples are working. This is the main program. This is the main lines of program. If I write some 100 again 10 lines here in the same line, these are basically some the main program that is running, and you run the main program. The program came here. It actually saw, oh, this is a function. If this is a function, I'll not execute this, man, because this is a function. Function is basically, I'll just start the function and let that function execute. So it is just like a separate person is sitting and he is running that program for you, and he'll give me the output. whatever it is asked to do. So all your small tasks can be given to functions to do it, and the functions will start doing it on your own. Okay, so it is like small people who are there, whom you tell to, hey guy, hey add, please add and give me two numbers. Your job is just to add and give me two numbers. Give me, I'm saying, don't print and all. Okay, just give me. That means you return me some value. I'll see that what should be done after that. I'll see what should be done with the answer, whether to print it, whether to subtract again something out of it, and all those kind of stuff. Your job is just to add, so give me the addition value. It is like small people who you are creating inside your program, distributing your burden and asking them to do that task. You know why? Because of functions, debugging will become much more easier, because if you figure out there is some problem going on, man, in the addition, then you don't have to look over the whole program. Imagine this is 1,000 lines of program, you don't have to look over the whole program. You will just go and search in the add function. You will just go and type control F here, you will get this. Just write the function name here, control F, write the function name, you will go to add. You will go and search only to add, and that is where you can figure out whether your problem is here or not, because let's say you know that there is a function, maybe multiply or finding a power of a number, and you are getting a wrong answer in finding the power of a number. Whom you will ask? That guy who actually was finding the power of the number, that function who was actually finding the power of the number. Go to that place exactly, directly. You don't have to look over where that problem is inside this file. Debugging will become much more easier because of functions. Because of functions, your program will be neat, clean, in order. Unnecessary things will be avoided. Reusable, it is reusable. That means, reusable means what? For example, we'll just comment this. Okay, we can create a function. Maybe like if I give you a task, print 10 times hello world. You might say I'll use loop. Yes, you can use loop and print it. That is also fine. Another way to do it is maybe say print hello world. You create a function, print hello world, like this, and you may say print hello world, something like this. You can do it. Another way to do it, teaching, okay, code reusability. One time I'll write the function definition and I'll call this function 10 times. If I call this function 10 times it will be printed. 2 times I have called right now, 2 times it will be printed hello world. So one time you have written the code, but you are executing that same code 10 times. So this will happen many times. When this is a simple program, but when you create big programs, right, that you have written maybe some program which is to create a button, maybe you have written a program which is there to create to send some data to some particular server and all. That time maybe you want to run that program every time. After every second you want, let's say you want to run a program, after every second you want to send some data. So you will keep on executing those things again and again. No, I'll write one function and the same program I'll keep on calling it every second. Once you call, that body will be executed. Again, after 1 second, again one time I'll call, again body will be executed. After 1 second, again one time I'll call, again body will be executed. How do you write an infinite loop? How do you write an infinite loop which is never going to stop?
While loop.
While what?
While true.
Very simple. I hope this made your concepts of functions little bit clear. Okay, so it will be way more clear because we will be using from now onwards functions itself. From now onwards, if I am asking you to write a program, you will not be writing a program the way you were writing it till now. You will be actually writing a function for it. You noticed in the lead code, I returned some value, the result. Why I returned, you understood now, because it was actually printing things on its own. It just told me the program, the behind the lead code program was written in such a way that it was just asking me to just calculate the answer and just return me. I will take care of printing work. So when I printed, that time I was giving error. So my job was just to print, just to return the value. Return means what? Throw the value, whatever I have calculated. Give some output. And what to do with that output, let that guy decide. The main guy who is the owner of that program or who is running that program. So it's like when you run the program, there is something called as process that starts or threads that start. There is something called as a main thread, main guy who is actually running that program every line by line, whom you are calling an interpreter. Every line is doing that task. Every line is doing that task. If he sees a function, oh, he tells this is a function. This work can be done by someone else. So it will ask that guy to do it. It will say, hey function, hey hello, do the work whatever has been told for you. I am calling you right now. So please do and give me this work. Please return me this value. Hey, if you return this value, I'll cache it. I'll store it in a variable and I'll keep on doing the below lines whatever is going on there. So there is a main guy who keeps on doing this, and these functions are all small little guys who are basically does the small works and gives it the main guy. Is that clear?
Yes, it is clear.
So there is no hard and fast rule here. Like I told you, right? These are just options that are available. 4 ways of writing function. If you are feeling comfortable with taking some input, giving some value, that's the most traditional way of writing. Okay, you will see 2 syntax more common, and these are the top 2. You will see a lot of many places that we are giving some input to the function and we are asking it to return some value. Very simple. This is syntax. You will see very common. And another syntax which you see common is no input, no output. Just you do the work. What all you have to do, you do the work. I will not give you anything. I don't want anything also. Even you only do the printing job also. You will see this syntax very common. Last 2 you will see rare, but lot many times you will see the first 2. Lots of places you will see lots of other programs you might see this program functions, like they are taking some input, giving some on lead code at least every place you are going to see this. There is a function which is taking some input, it is giving, you have to return something. Output means what? Write the return word, it will give you throughout the output. As simple as that. So from now onwards, whatever programs you will be writing, you will be writing it with the help of functions. Okay, so let's say if I tell you to write a program, I'll give you a list of numbers as an input. Your job is to figure out the odd numbers that are available inside that, and you return me a list of odd numbers. Very simple task I have given. Okay, I only have told you what input I want, what output I want. So let's say don't give this. I don't tell that your job is print a list of all odd numbers from a given list. From a given list, you should return me again a list itself. You should return me a list itself, a list of all the odd numbers that are available from a given list. Okay, so let's say I'll create a list. Maybe numbers is basically equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like this. Let's say like this. Which syntax you want to use? You can use any syntax. There is no hard and fast rule. Which syntax you want to use to solve this problem, you use. I am actually using one of that syntax, which is like, let's say I'll create a function, find odd. It will take input as some variable that is numbers. It will take numbers as an input. Sorry, let's say it will take an array as an input. Whatever input will be there, that will be stored in this variable array. Now I will check for I in array. I will iterate over this. Okay, and for every element I have to check if I modulus of, if I find the remainder with 2, and if the answer comes 0, that means it's an even number. If it is not coming 0, that means not equal to 0, right? That means it's an odd number. This number I have to return a list, right? So I will create an empty list here. Maybe I will return result is equal to empty list. We create an empty list like this, and I'll keep on adding the odd numbers inside this list. How do you add a number inside a list? You already know append function. Sorry?
No, this function only.
We created an empty array, and inside that array we are appending all the odd numbers. Once your odd numbers appending work is done, when it will be done? When this for loop will end. When this for loop will end, that time all the appending work will be completed. So I will come when this for loop will run, that means run after that you return it, return result. Why did not I return result here itself? If you return result here itself, only at the first iteration itself it will return, it will quit. It will return and it will finish off. Return means what? Your function body has stopped now. Function call means what? You have started the function body. And return means you have stopped that function execution. When to stop the function execution? When it will come out of this for loop. So I have returned this return statement at the same line, because after coming out of this for loop, then I will return this line. That's it. Where this return, whatever it will return, I will catch. Where I will call it. So I will write find odd function. Input, what should I pass? Numbers. This whatever list I have created here, right? This I am passing this as an input from here, and it will go and reach and store in this variable array, and then it will do all this work and it will return. Whatever it is going to return, it will be stored in some variable. I told you, because it is returning, I will have to catch that. I'm storing it in the variable, which is, let's say, result, and I'll just print result. I told you this variable is different, this variable is different, because the variables you create inside the function will be available only for the function, only inside this function. They cannot be used outside. If you want to use it outside, then there is a different way to do it. But see here, it's a list. It's a list of all the odd numbers. This variable is different, this variable is different. Okay, this variable is actually the outer variable. This variable is actually only available inside this function because it was declared itself inside the function. You can consider that it is a local variable. I will discuss about scopes tomorrow. But I hope you understood that the same program we wrote with the help of functions. There is nothing big deal in that. You can write all these programs with the help of functions. If you practice, right, in which day we did that, this one I'm not sure.
13.
13 what? No, this one. We solved those questions, no? Some questions were there. Strings questions. Here if you want to write a program, reverse a word in a string. You have already written the reversing a word program in a string. How do you write it inside function? Let's say I'll assume that I'll create a function reverse string. It will take input something. What it will take input? It will take input as a string, str. It will take input as a string. Some string it will take as an input. And our job is to reverse this. So I have to return what? Reverse order of this. How will you get the reverse order of this? We have already discussed. String of this one. We have discussed this one.
Yes.
If you want to store it in this variable, you can store maybe something like reverse, and after calculating the reverse, you can say return reverse. However you want to do. Why to write this line if you can directly return it in the same line? Then you call this function reverse string reverse is equal to, let's say, reverse string. Whatever it is going to return, whatever is going to pass here, it is going to return it. So I will store this variable, and let's print and see this. Print reverse. You could have printed it here also. I told you there is no issue with that. Don't argue on that one. And see here, it's been reversed. Let's pass something else and see now as an input. See here, our mixer is converting it to something else and giving same program, same output, only the way of writing changed, and this is a better way of writing it. This is a wrong order to program that came, okay, but you'll get the same output. This is a different way of writing it, that's it. Okay, from now onwards, whatever you are going to write, you are going to write functions for it. Any program, if I tell you to write, you are going to create a function for it. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
And I hope you are completely cleared with user-defined functions, built-in functions. How do you create your own functions now? How do you implement any functionality inside that function? There are different ways of writing these functions, 4 ways which we discussed. You can use whichever you want from that. I use the first one from that for solving those 2 questions. You use whichever you want. What you can do is you can try man, like go and try these questions itself. You can do it with functions or what? Same questions, but you can actually do it with the help of functions or what? Try it. If you are getting it, your functions concept is clear. And now onwards you will be writing functions itself. That's a more better way to write the program. So after scope and libraries, right, I will teach you classes and objects, which is a much more better way of writing programs. I'll tell you what's the need of that. But let me finish with libraries, because when we start with libraries, right, our projects will come into picture. Amazing projects, the power of Python comes from the power of libraries that it has, and all those libraries, so much amazing libraries are there, so many libraries are there that you will understand. You can do a lot with those libraries. That's it. If you have any doubts, you can just ask me. We'll just